Live from Hazard, Kentucky, this is Jammin John's Wrestling News. Here's your news for Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. We start off with some tragic news in the professional wrestling world. Ranallo noted the following on his Twitter account today: "My best friend's brother just committed suicide. I am done. I wanted my doc to help people, but I feel like a effing failure. We need to smash the stigma of mental illness once and for all. Too many people are dying. Enough is enough." I want to take this time to just send good vibes out to Ranallo, his best friend, the whole family of his best friend. It's just, this hits home for me on so many levels. So many levels that some of you might understand. For me, when I was 17, I lost one of my best friends from grade school to suicide. I found out through Facebook after I had gotten out of the shower. I was getting ready to go to bed because I was a senior in high school at that time. And that's when I found out through somebody on my Facebook that he had passed away. And that's something that I never really got over, and I don't think I'll ever get over it. It's just such a shock, and it's left just a scar on me because he was such a very happy person and so full of life and just a really nice guy. But he, on the inside, was fighting a battle. And that's the thing about mental illness. On the outside, everybody looks like they're doing great, but on the inside, everyone is secretly fighting some type of battle, whether it be anxiety disorders, whether it be depression, whether it be bipolar disorder, whether it be schizophrenia, whether it be PTSD, so many others to go along. Mental illness is a horrible thing, and I agree with Morrow. We do need to smash the stigma. I love Ranallo. I know Morrow has suffered with bipolar disorder for a long time, and he's an outspoken advocate for mental illness, and he is an amazing human being. And Morrow, I really hope that good vibes head your way, man. I really do. You're not a failure. You are a great human being, and you have done so much to help people with mental illness like myself out. I've suffered from anxiety disorders and ADHD my whole life, ever since I was a kid. And the perseverance of people like Ranallo has really helped me go a long way. I was bullied a lot, and I was bullied very severely to the point where I thought, thoughts of taking my own life as well. And it was a scary thing, at 12 years old to be thinking that. The bullying escalated so bad to where I had an eating disorder, and I had to actually see a psychiatrist, and that was the worst time in my life so far, being 13 years old, 11 years ago, and having to go through that. And there were, a lot of days that were just really rough, but I kept going on. In the back of my head, something was telling me that it was only temporary. And in my beliefs, I believe that was God that was telling me that. And I kept pushing on. And once I got out of high school, things started getting better. I got on the radio. I got to interview celebrities that were heroes of mine when I was a child. I got to do an amazing radio show and have a great fan base through that. And now I work at the radio station that I always dreamed of being on as a kid. And I also get to do this pro wrestling news podcast for all 1,300 of you to listen to. And it's just so incredible. It really is. And I just want you to know, through my experience, things will get better for you. It will get better. You just got to keep pushing on. Because there will be days that are going to be horrible. And it's, your mental illness is going to really affect you. It's going to try its best. It's going to try its best to stop you. And you got to just keep pushing on. no matter how hard it gets. And if you feel like taking your own life, I just want you to know that I love you. You do matter. You are an amazing human being. You are talented. You are abundant. And things will get better for you. If you're having those thoughts, I encourage you to talk with your family and friends. That's what really helped me out whenever I was going through that turbulent time. And if you don't have family or friends and you don't want to do that, I encourage you to call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. They're available 24 hours every day to help you out if you're going through a suicidal crisis or emotional distress. That number is 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. You can also chat online if you don't want to call by going to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Once again, that's suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Confidential help is available absolutely for free. I want to help out as many people as I can that's going through this, because I know how it feels to go through it personally myself, and one of my best friends who took his own life 7 years ago. So once again, I want you to know that if you're going through having thoughts of harming yourself or wanting to not live anymore, I love you. You're talented. You're incredible. You have an amazing life ahead of you. There's so much more to live for. And once again, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number at 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. You can also chat online at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Once again, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. I want to send good vibes out to Ranallo, his best friend's family, and I want to let you know it gets better. Last night's Monday Night Raw viewership did 2.374 million viewers, which was up from last week's 2.302 million average. This episode of Raw was the coming off episode from the Super Showdown pay-per-view. Of course, this had Kurt Angle's return to the ring. It also had Trish Stratus and Lita and the Generation X. So that really helped out. Here are the hourly numbers from ShowBuzzDaily.com. Hour number 1, 2.553 million viewers. Hour number 2, 2.388 million viewers. And hour number 3, 2.200 million viewers. Mike Johnson of PWInsiderElite.com recently commented on the contracts of various WWE stars. Here is what Johnson said, courtesy of RingsideNews.com. They've been trying to sign everybody to new 5-year deals. I cannot confirm that any of those 3 men have signed such a deal. Mike Johnson continued on by saying, I actually wouldn't be shocked if it turns out Brock Lesnar actually signed a new deal back at Wrestlemania time that is still enforced and it hadn't expired. Ziggler obviously signed some time and Daniel Bryan signed some time in the last month or weeks. I do not have the length of those contracts. Twitter account at WrestleVotes noted the following about Shawn Michaels. WrestleVotes tweeted, now that it's official and Shawn Michaels is coming out of retirement, I'm hearing if all goes well, HBK is planning on working WrestleMania. I have heard a few ideas for his opponent, but nothing solid enough to report. PWInsider.com is also reporting that Tammy Sonny Sitch was released on parole today from the Carbon County Correctional Facility in Pennsylvania. Sitch had been incarcerated for 7 months after being arrested for failing to appear in court for 2 DUI arrests. In a recent interview with Manny Tisgas, Triple H commented on intergender wrestling by saying, it's a funny thing to me. There's just a shock moment to that and a spectacle moment to that. Women WWE superstars don't need a man to make them successful in the ring. They don't need a man to step in the ring with them to make them have a spectacular match. Triple H continued on by saying, they don't need a man in the ring with them. They need each other. They need the opportunity. They need the platform. And they need to be set free to do what they need to do. And when we do that, they rise to the occasion. They have stolen the show. They've taken the main event. And they will have their pay-per-view on October 28th from New York, the first all-female WWE pay-per-view. Triple H continued on by saying, they don't need that. And I think anybody that says, well, to have the man versus the woman is just shock value, you don't need it. I think when it's done right, there's an exciting moment when it can happen, but I don't mean to think that needs to be the standard. Thanks to WrestlingInc.com for the quotes. Brad Shepard commented on Barn Burner's No Holds Barred podcast about Daniel Bryan and The Miz being cut short and Shawn Michaels wrestling again. Here's what Shepard said, courtesy of RingsideNews.com. Triple H was in charge of the Super Showdown pay-per-view and put himself in the main event and gave himself nearly 30 minutes with The Undertaker, and after talking to a source in WWE about this was their feedback, and I'm going to quote them, "What more do you need to say there? This is not subjective on what Planet Duties 2 need 30 minutes. Brad Shepard continued on by saying, I was talking to a source in WWE who brought up some interesting things I just wanted to share. Talking about specifically about the Crown Jewel show and Shawn Michaels' return, and this is the feedback I got from someone in WWE, and I'm just going to say it. Frankly, I don't want him back, and I shake my head at him breaking his retirement for this." Coming off Monday's Raw, WWE posted the following storyline update on Kevin Owens. WWE said, Kevin Owens sustained injuries to both knees when Bobby Lashley viciously wrapped Owens' legs around a turnbuckle after their match, WWE.com can confirm. Owens will undergo further evaluation tomorrow to determine the full extent of the damage. Cody Rhodes tweeted and then deleted the following tweet on Twitter. Cody Rhodes tweeted, October 13th, Monroe, New Jersey. Might be one of the last times the group is all together. Come say hello. With Cody and the Young Bucks set to be free agents soon, the tweet deletion has done even more to fuel speculation about the future of the Elite and the Bullet Club. During a recent appearance on Bill Apter's podcast, Sting talked about what he was planning to pitch prior to retirement. Sting said, I think that if I could have made it through that last match with Seth, I was really going to push hard to see if I could get that WrestleMania program with The Undertaker. I had so many ideas that developed over a couple of decades based on his character and my character as some of the ideas I have in my head. Sting continued on by saying, someday someone's going to do some pretty cool stuff like that with characters that are similar, and it all has to do with sleight of hand and special effects and holograms. Oh man, I had some ideas that would have rocked everybody. I mean, it would have matched his character and mine, and I believe it would leave people with their jaws open. They would have been very, very entertained. Thanks to WrestlingInc.com for the quote. And finally, here on Jammin' John's Wrestling News, it is now time to announce the latest special subscriber poll. That poll being, are you okay with Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement? Yes, no, or indifferent. You can go vote right now at patreon.com/JamminJohn if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, what are you doing with your life? Go subscribe to me at patreon.com/JamminJohn. I have free packages on there ranging from free to $7. Not a whole lot of money. I would really appreciate it if you supported me a little bit financially. Once again, that's patreon.com/JamminJohn. That is your news for Tuesday, October 9th, 2018. Happy birthday, John Lennon. Your legacy of peace still lives on. Check back here tomorrow for another Jammin' John's Wrestling News Flash Briefing on Amazon Alexa devices. Big shout out to everybody listening to this on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Stewie Family is the name. Follow me on Twitter at John Caldwell, JONCOLWELL. Follow me on Instagram, The Jammin' John. If you'd like to sponsor Jammin' John's Wrestling News, or you're a wrestling promotion wanting to get your next big event out through the awesome power of Amazon Alexa, you can email me, jzcaldwell@gmail.com. That's JZCOLWELL@gmail.com. Big shout out to Ryan Hurdle and Tony Nelson for subscribing to my Patreon. Once again, you too can subscribe to my Patreon by going to patreon.com/JamminJohn. I have free packages on there ranging from free to $7. Not a whole lot of money. I would really appreciate it if you supported me a little bit financially. Once again, that's patreon.com/JamminJohn. This is Jammin' John saying thanks, goodbye, I'll see you tomorrow.